You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Hello, listeners. You just joined into Miranda's world, where Miranda and Chris Spangle
Hello.
talk about topics that you care about.
I hope they care about it.
They better care.
It's Miranda's world, so
Slap these hoes.
you tuned in to hear about what Miranda cares about, to be honest.
Yeah.
Off air, you're Instagram living this.
I am.
And your boy...
I keep losing connection, so there's like a series of videos.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's your boy Mike Doty joined in.
Yeah, Mike Doty has been probably the first joiner of every episode, or every little thing I've done here.
So he's thirsty as fuck, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I love him so much. He creeps and he doesn't care, and I like it.
Yes. I wish all women were like you.
Yeah. He does. And you know what? I love his wife so much. And he was creeping, and that's whenever I first got my boobs done. And I know this guy actually from middle school. And he was like, whoa. And his wife saw him, and they were like, whoa. And then he just started texting me about my hooters. And I was like, yeah, your bitch can have these too. And like...
Did you have a threesome with them?
No. Just probably in maybe both of their minds.
Okay. Yeah. Would you?
No.
You don't seem like people would think that you're sexually promiscuous, but you're not at all.
Well, that's what's so funny. I was like, I may dress slutty or like say or do things that people think are slutty or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's cool that you have an opinion on it. Like you might, I guess really that's my fuck you to America at this point. Is like, guess what? I can be super ratchet and do things that are whore behavior, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, guess what? I didn't get a strange dick in my mouth or any other hole of my body, and I managed to do it. It's like I don't just get drunk and make out with guys or do it. It's like,
If we're in our 30s. You don't do that in your 30s.
No, and it's like I can say and do whatever I please. It doesn't mean any of those things.
You're like in your, if you're in your early 20s, you are getting it stuck in every hole.
Well, no, but the women that are, they're not fucking saying, oh, I get it stuck in every hole. Like they're not drawing attention to it. They're like, well, I talk about it and create a diversion. They're over there doing it.
Right. Yeah. So have you ever had a slutty phase? Like where you were just a real whore.
Yeah. I can be slutty, especially when I was younger. I was super slutty, but I mean, again, slutty-ish for me, but I don't think, I don't know. I guess what is considerable to what people I know, or you know what I mean. Right. It's like I had like
I'm counting all the men I've been with on two hands, 5, 10, 15, 20. Right. And you're not like that.
No, it's like I was in long relationships for, a long time anyway, so it's kept me nice. Kept me honest.
Yeah, kept you, together.
Yeah, I didn't go to college, so that kept me intact also. That's why I've never had butt sex. I didn't go to college, so my first hole didn't get blown out.
I can't believe you've never had it in the butt.
I had to move on to the do-over hole. Literally, because there's going to be dew all over.
Oh, gross.
I know. I made that up one time, and I was like, haha, it's awesome. But no, literally, I didn't. No. I'm saving that. That's the marriage hole.
Yeah, so...
Saving something special for the guy that never comes around.
Now, you've never been married, right?
I've never been married at all.
And you're in your late 20s or early 30s?
Early 30s.
Okay. Have you ever been close to being married?
I was engaged once, but the ring, I always wore it on like my middle finger on another hand. I never got the ring size. I set a date, like I was like, yeah, let's set a date like a year out or something,
Right.
And then when that started approaching, I made my exit strategy. I never planned anything for the wedding. I just planned to get the fuck away.
Was it because he asked you to marry him that you got freaked out?
It was that finally put it into perspective. It was the guy that I lived with that was, twice my age. It just, also having worked for Marriott at that point, because I was with him for quite a long time. Most of that time, I had nothing going on for myself at all. So then once, I did start to get myself together, I'd worked for Marriott for a couple of years, and, I didn't make a lot of money or anything, but I just started seeing, like, you know what? I actually can do better on my own. And he had kind of straightened up from some of his behaviors that he had gone through that were the worst of his behaviors. But, like, it was just too late. You know what I mean? It didn't matter. And I just disgusted by the whole thing. And he was very clingy, smothering, and I fucking hate that. I need space. I need a lot of me time. But then, that was why I guess Brian, I'm not supposed to say names.
That's fine. That's fine.
That was why the next guy that I dated, he was so perfect for me at that time because it was like plenty of space.
Right.
And it was the exact opposite, and I just loved it, and I thought, yes, this is my niche. But then, unfortunately, he was a lying piece of shit and just lied to me and used me for years and years.
Yes.
Sorry, my thing. But, so he just honestly, complete fucking piece of shit. I honestly wish I had never fucking met in my life. I want to claw his goddamn eyes out. And he's dating a fucking bitch that looks just like him with a fucking lopsided ass John and Kate +8 fucking hairdo. So
she's speaking to the manager every chance she gets.
Oh, yeah. And she looks just like him. She's just skinny and tall. Like, she literally has no fucking body.
Right.
And she's disgusting. I'm just like...
Not bitter or anything.
Not at all. Not at all. And, the thing is, you lied to me. You used me for all of those years. Great. Thank you. Again, the shittiest part is, I genuinely loved and cared about him so much. And, he kept, pushing me out, giving me just enough, I would call it breadcrumbing me. Every time that I was just like, this isn't right, I'm going to get away. It's like, again, another person, when I was going through the worst of worst with my daughter, just, out with it, I can't make it out to, do this with your friends and stuff with you tonight because, I'm going through this horrible situation with my daughter. But you know what? He would just go do it instead of coming, help me or be there for me or, you know what I mean? It's like, just horrible. And I would put that together and finally I'd be like, no, you're not. And then, he would just act like he was damaged to give me just, you know what I mean? Like he even went so far as to tear his fucking house down and build a new house, but he still never finished the basement or anything. So it was like he still didn't have enough space for us to ever move in together, which is what he kept like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he didn't finish that until I'd like long gone.
Right.
And if he wanted,
was it one of those things where he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get this done, then you could move in when I get this done.
He would make like there was actual plans that were, of course. Here, the disenfranchisement came really whenever he started to build the house. Okay, he tried on his house. He started he got the plans and and made all this stuff. Like this was supposed to be a home for us, but he never asked me anything for my input. He never, and so I became disengaged slowly off of that, and then it just kind of went from there.
Yeah,
and instead of letting me go, at a time where I might have been able to actually scrape something with my life together, because again, my situation was different because my daughter being younger, but it's like I didn't go to school or I didn't do different things then because I had hoped that, again, when I signed the short-term leases that he would tell me to sign and
right.
That I would do those things when I lived with him and it would just be easier because again, I wouldn't be financially responsible for all of my bills. And I never did that. And so now I'm 32. I still haven't done any of that. And I find myself in a shitty place. And it's like, he took advantage of the fact that I have no family and anything. And it's like, and instead of becoming a family to me, as you know what I mean, like, which is what I needed and wanted out of a partner and, wanted to become that, he acted like that and then just kept, doing whatever he wanted to do.
Right.
Because he knew that I really didn't know any different or any better. And it's like, but he did. And so again, now looking back towards it, I'm just like, what a piece of shit. And he's the worst kind because he seems like a decent person, but he's a liar. And people don't get it. His friends don't get it. It's like, fine. It's like, he made me have an abortion, after, we'd been together for quite some time. I mean, whenever I found out I was pregnant, I was scared, obviously, very scared. This was very early on in our relationship, but I was super scared. I mean,
like how old were you?
25, 26 maybe. And but I was just like, you know what I mean? Again, I'm a dancer. My living situation is like, what am I going to do? I'm in a lease for X more months and and how is this going to work? And his house wasn't even very big. I'm like, you know,
right.
I'm going through all this. And then it was just like, when I told him about it, his initial response was like, when I said I was pregnant, was to get an abortion. And I cried. Like, I remember just kind of like dropping the phone, like, because I assumed, you know, we were in a relationship.
Right.
And we, you know what I mean? Like, we're two adults.
That would be like the worst possible thing as a man to say to a woman when she says, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, you want to hear, I imagine you tell me, but you want to hear, I'll take care of you. I'm so happy. All these good things, as opposed to not my problem.
You know, it doesn't have to be one extreme or the other, because I understand everybody's going to go through something different, but it's like, yeah, that shouldn't be your first. And I mean, you know, I guess just as a partner to someone, regardless of what side you're on, it's like, instead of making a stance on it one way or another, that initial second, it's like, you should actually just be more there for one another. And like,
right.
You know, gosh, you know, like, this is scary. You know what I mean? Because again, I'd already had all these fears and all these things. It's like, that just was, it was just like on your own. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like, that sucks.
Again, another instance of another person just not being there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And,
right.
You know, and again, to make it even worse, I mean, he just couldn't have been any shittier about it. He literally didn't even take the day off work. He drove me in his box truck. I mean, he sat there, well, you know, I guess during the time, but whatever. But it's like, drove me in his freaking box truck, which is not a comfortable ride home.
Right.
I picked my daughter up from my girlfriend that had watched her. And of course, nobody knew about it. But it's like, and then he just dropped us off at my house. You know, she was like maybe 8. It's not like she was a baby, but again, still, it's like just no support. It's like dropped us off. And obviously for a couple of weeks, I couldn't work or anything. So he did help me like with the bare minimum of what he had to help me with my bills and stuff at that time. And he has money though. That's the worst. But it's not like it would have killed him to do it. It didn't hurt him to do it.
Right.
But he, you know, still gave me the bare minimum and made things just different. And like, so obviously even like buying groceries and stuff, it's like, you know what I mean? I was like buying cheap stuff, like, you know, again, the younger kid, it's like, you know, Easy Mac and hot dog, you know what I mean? And it's
right.
like ramen. But it's like, I ended up putting on some weight, and I went through a lot of other things at the time, sure, that probably led into that.
Sure.
But I put in some weight, and then, you know, he was so mean about it. You know, he was probably just seeing someone else or trying to see someone else anyway, but he acted like, and again, he just was not interested in me for a long time and whatever. And then it was because I had put on weight because I was fat. And I honestly, fat for me wasn't even, most people wouldn't even probably consider it fat. And I do, but it's like, you know, he didn't, again, it's like, you know, his liking me was wrapped around my looks. You know, if when I put on weight, he didn't like me. And it's funny because I still made money. I still supported myself off of my looks. So
right.
They couldn't have been that bad. But, you know, he just treated me poorly. He treated me, you know, he always acted like he was just unsure whether I was good enough in one way or another. And yet he like would make people think he's just the nicest guy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, his family, nobody knows that he forced me to have an abortion. Nobody, you know, they don't know what he really is like because he's fake.
Right.
And I mean, in a way, I'm happy that I cut myself off from that. But in another way, it's just like, it just sucks. It's like, well, I mean, I guess it's not to do with whether or not I'm happy from getting away from it, but it's just like, I'm happy, I guess, to just to come to realize, like, you know what, because of my job, and again, it doesn't even matter if it's like my job now or the fact that or if I had another job and I just used to be a dancer, you know, that's just it. It's like, nobody gives a shit about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, nobody, you know, like they might hang out with you, they might want to do, you know, whatever, but it's like, they don't want to date you, or they don't have to do anything, be more serious with you or anything, because you're just not deserving of it. And it's, you know, it's so shitty. It's like, you know, it's my job. And you know what? I don't do anything that I am embarrassed about. I, you know, make a decent living for daughter. I do it in a way that I'm still able to have a life, and I'm able to, and I don't suck dicks. I don't do weird, gross things. It's very much more a psychological issue for me anyway, of like how I actually make the most money. And
right.
And so I don't do anything I'm ashamed of. And I learned that, somewhere along the lines, and I let it kind of, but I still didn't get away from him because I just wanted to be good enough, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes I think when you get dumped or when you're like disconnected from somebody, you just go, this sucks. There's an ego wound here that needs to be rectified, and I'll do whatever it takes for you to love me again, so I'm good enough.
Yeah.
Or
well, it's like when I left him,
like I just went through a situation yesterday where it's like there was I read something and I was just like, oh, okay, I was just a joke. I'm the fool. And it's just like it never meant anything to you anyways. I'm just the asshole. Like I'm just an asshole. Like I got fooled.
That was me.
And it sucks. Like you just sit there and go, wow, my feelings were real, but it sucks that this person was just using me and a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, it sucks to say again, I'm nothing, I'm nobody. And, we were together for 6-7 years. Obviously never lived together or anything. And, he never, always treated me like I was nothing. Right. Always made it a point to put everybody else in front of me, made it a point to do those things. And then I broke up with him because finally I'm just like, I'm not going to be used like this anymore.
Yeah.
And then right after that, all of a sudden now he's just in this like, great relationship, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they probably live together. I'm like, are you getting fucking married? I don't even know. But it's like, oh, okay. So, when you acted like you were just damaged from being married, blah, 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 and divorced, it's like, and you acted like all those things, like, like that was what, but it's like, no, it was me. You didn't want me, but yet you still didn't want anyone else to have me, or you didn't, you wanted to continue to have sex with me, or whatever it was. But you made me feel like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is this is just a relationship, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, that's just what he's capable of, or, but then it's like, yeah, no, the joke really was on me. And it's like all of his friends and stuff that would laugh at me all the time behind my back anyway. And I would hear about it as like, like, oh, she thinks like, he's going to marry her or something. It's like she's a dancer like that. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like, and it's just so funny because, he never stood up for me. And that was one thing of it. But it's like the fact that it's true hurts more than the fact that they laugh at you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just, but it's like, it's not like I'm just somebody like that would just be fine. Like you could use me and just throw me to the side or whatever. And it's like, oh, she'll be fine. I don't have anybody. And it's like, I don't know. It's just really disgusting when somebody, again, an adult, someone's older than even I am or whatever, that knows that. And they just still, they don't mind being selfish.
And treating you like you're a notch on a belt.
Yeah, but also taking up 6-7 years of my life where I could have hopefully been trying to, better myself and do something if I would have known I was going to do it on my own anyway.
And it's hard when you get mad because you get mad at yourself going, why didn't I know better? Why didn't I treat myself better? And why wasn't I stronger?
Well, that's really where I've come to with it. It's like, I don't want to ever date anybody again. Like, it's like, I just want to be by myself because I was stupid forever thinking, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm never going to be anything to anyone in that way or whatever. And
well, that's just not true. That's bad thinking. I can see how your experiences have told you that is the truth, but it doesn't mean that that is the truth. You can't know the future and you can't know what is going to happen. Past things that happened in the past aren't necessarily what is going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
You can't know the future, and you can't know who you will meet. You can't.
Well, no, but I honestly, I feel like I have no self-worth in that area, and that's fine. You know what I mean? I don't feel like that has to drag me down in the other areas, but I just need to know that and stop, you know what I mean? And not let that distract me or...
Well, your picker's broken. But you didn't ever have anybody to teach you who to pick in the first place. But that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to make good decisions.
Well, I just feel like I don't have the ability to really have any worth to anybody.
But that's not true. Well,
I feel like, again, as long as it's on a superficial level, then yeah, I mean, people like me and they're fine. But it's just like, I don't know.
Well,
it's just, I don't know. Which, again, it's like, it's not right. I don't think it's fair. I feel like I do have plenty, like, of things to offer. And I, you know what I mean, would make a great, like, partner for someone. It's like, I know that I have those things. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I don't. But I'm saying that I'm realizing that other people are not going to see that in me.
I don't think that's true, though. Like, I can tell you as a single man, you don't give off the vibe that you're looking for that. Like, I would never ask you out on a date just because I would never, like, think that that's what you were looking for. Like, I would never think that Miranda Barnett wants to be a housewife.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I'm not saying that housewife is the default of a healthy marriage, but
but no,
you know
but I
mean,
I would, but no, that is what I wanted. That's what I wanted for so long. But yeah, I think honestly, that's what's made me, I think, kind of go so extreme in the other way and just kind of start doing my own thing is giving up on that and
mm-hmm.
realizing that that's just not for me. It's like, it's just not. I don't understand. Like, I don't like what you've been married, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what was it that made you decide to actually get married? Like, what was it that just, like, then you were just like, yeah, I'm going to ask her to marry me?
This is probably the answer that you're not looking for, but the truth is that I dated someone for 3 years in high school. I was madly in love with Joanna, and we broke up, and it was the right decision. I mean, she I don't know how she put up with me for 3 years. I mean, it was just, I was a crazy person because I was so emotionally unhealthy, and I didn't date anybody. I didn't go on a date for 5 years. Because I didn't go to, like, a quote-unquote real college. I had no self-esteem. I was just an emotionally broken person. And I was I was really a loser in my early 20s. Like, if you want to...
Oh, I was.
I was such a loser. I was living in my mom's basement. I was working part-time for my dad. I had been fired from a full-time job. I had dropped out of college. Like, I just was a loser. And I was so broke. And... then I met Samantha, my ex-wife, and she seemed to have a mild interest in me and was not that interested, but enough that I could talk my way into it. And it took like 3 or 4 months for her to even agree to really go on a date. And then when we did, it took like 3 or 4 months for her to, like, accept that she was my girlfriend. Then we were together for 2 years, and I went to Qdoba one day. And, I was just thinking about how I did love her, and we did live together at that point, and it was like we were married, and I was 26, 27, it was just time to get married, and let's be honest, I wasn't going to ever meet anybody else, and so this is just the person I'm going to marry, and this is the person that will have me, because I'm such a piece of shit that, like, I'm such a loser that nobody's ever going to want to date me.
Right.
So I bought a ring and ended up proposing that night in our apartment. And we were engaged for a year. We were married, and within the first year, she started talking about divorce. And if you look down here, there's an extension cord. And then you can plug in under the TV. So I got married because I didn't think that I would ever be able to date anybody else. I just didn't have any experience with women. I didn't have any self-confidence, and it just seemed like the right decision. And it wasn't. It wasn't the right choice. I didn't realize how much, like, intelligence I needed in a partner. I didn't have a good sense of, like, my needs or what another person needs or anything. I was just so emotionally retarded.
AKA in your 20s.
Exactly right, yeah. And I wasn't surprised when she started talking about divorce, but the first time she brought it up, I was just like, this is doomed. We're done.
Well, yeah, what was the first time that she brought it up?
It was just a silly fight. I didn't do the dishes one day. she came home and the dishes weren't done, and she was just like, you know what, I want a divorce. Like, this is stupid. Like, you won't even do the dishes. You don't love me enough to do the dishes. And it's like, looking back, there was nothing that was ever going to make that work. And she and I are really good friends now.
Because that's a topic. That's like, there's something else going on, and that's finally the thing that makes us snap.
Exactly right. Yeah. And, it ended on our 3rd anniversary was when the divorce decree was finalized.
Ironic.
But now being a much more emotionally healthy person, like, I'm looking, I think what you're looking for, which is, I just want someone to not give up on me. Because
right.
Like, I've had, there's a lot of like things that I would like in somebody, and there's a lot of things that you want and things that go into attraction and all that good stuff. But like, at the end of the day, I'm just an imperfect person, and I'm going to marry an imperfect person, and I want them just to not give up on me. Because so many people throughout my life have just given up.
Yeah, you want them to genuinely love you.
Right. I want reciprocation. I want, openness, authenticity, good sex, just like...
But when you're in tune and you care about someone,
right.
I think that, you know what I mean? It's like things like good sex, like that happens. It's like...
Yeah. It's a byproduct.
When you care about, your partner's needs, it's like you are aware of what they like and what they don't like and what, and you
like I can
want
say
to make them happy.
I can say to somebody now, like, it's really important. So I don't know if you know about the 5 love languages, but like, it's really important for me to feel loved, to be touched, to be talked to. But like, I didn't realize for her it was gifts, like bringing.
That's me too.
She would bring me these, like, shocking.
I
know. Bring me things, buy me things, boys. She would bring me these like little tchotchkes, and I was just like, I don't need this piece of junk. Like, what am I going to do with this? I can't throw it away. I don't want it. It's not practical. But like, that was her saying, I thought about you today. It reminded me of you, and I wanted to say I love you. That's what that meant.
Exactly.
And she was looking for that in return, and instead I was touching her and saying I love you, but it didn't connect with her because that wasn't really kind of how she connected. So I don't know.
Because it's all about what our needs are, our specific needs. And so what you were lacking was touching, intimacy, talking.
Yeah. Zero intimacy. You know more about me as a friend than my ex-wife ever knew about me, because I'm so much better. Like, so does that kind of like give you an idea? I don't know what you were searching for when you asked me, like, why did you get married? What were you looking for?
Here's oftentimes what I get. I mean, whenever even my ex, like, I remember when I was, my little cousin convinced me to room raid his house while he was gone.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, we found his wedding photos and stuff. And so I was just like, okay, wow,
Right. You found the wedding photos, and you were younger, you said? You were a little kid?
No. I was like 24 or 25. Okay. I was about 25. And so, but my younger cousin is who convinced me to room raid him while he was gone.
Okay.
And we found the wedding photos and stuff. And like, so whenever I saw him again, I was just like, it made me so curious, because I was, again, looking at that woman, I'm just like, oh God, it was kind of like the Overboard. Have you like the movie Overboard?
That's such a great movie. Yeah, it was kind
of like her wedding photos. It was like the look on the woman just did not look like nobody looked happy. It looked weird.
And he was divorced, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. I remember the week before my wedding, I went over to my then best friend Hannah's house, and I remember it was her bachelorette party, and so I just got out of the house that evening. And I went over and I had like this, like, Hannah was my most intimate friend in the world. She knew everything about me. Like, I was just could be totally comfortable with. She was the only person in the world in my 20s that I was just comfortable with in myself. Mm-hmm. And I remember leaving and pulling out of the driveway, and just a little voice in the back of my head said, "That's who you should be marrying, not your wife. You should not be getting married next weekend." And I just, that's just cold feet.
Right. Like, is this probably what people go through?
Yeah. And I don't know. I think you get in so deep, and people say, oh, well, why didn't you just call it off? It's like, those people have never been married before. Like, those people have never been a week out from a wedding before. You can't just call it off.
Well, no. And then, because what if you do that and you're just getting cold feet?
Yeah.
You can't do that. No.
Right. Like, what attracted me to Sam was her, I'm attracted to a lot of different things, but to me, the thing about Sam was her empathy, and she was just so sweet. And I knew that I loved her when it was Christmas time, and we had just sort of started to get together, and I was still kind of like on the fence about her. And it was Christmas time, and she couldn't decide between paying a bill and buying Christmas presents for her friends. And she said, even if I struggle, I want to buy my friends Christmas presents. And like, I don't know, there was something about that moment. It sounds like superficial now, but like there was something about that moment and being in that moment where she was just a giver and
a giving thing
and a sweet person, and that's what I fell in love with.
Because logic would say pay the bill, you know what I mean?
Exactly right.
But no, that tells you, that she's a giver. Selfishness
would have paid the bill, and she was a selfless person. She is a selfless person. She's just a very sweet person, and so that's really what I fell for. But that one trait was just not enough to make a lifetime.
Right.
And we weren't able to communicate to each other. Like, I think now if I were in a relationship, I could say, hey, I know it's not about the dishes. What's going on?
Exactly.
Can we talk? Like, she wouldn't have that capacity then.
Well, no, when you just spaz out whenever you get put in that position in your 20s, like you're just
right.
like, ah!
Right.
Because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to say what it is. That's why you said it was about the goddamn dishes.
Exactly right.
When you're at that point.
Because
but when you're older, you just
neither
don't
of us
know.
could handle, I don't feel like you love me. We both felt that way, but neither of us could say that.
You were missing that connection.
Yeah. So does that kind of answer your question?
For sure. Well, see, it's so funny because again, asking him though, I'm like, well, what made you decide to get married? Because I just don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I've obviously never been married. I don't know a lot of people that had, you know what I mean, really been married. Because social media was starting to kind of come into play there and like really be more prominent. But it's like, you don't have connection with a lot of people if you've been out of the loop. So I just was wondering, like, what is it that makes someone decide, like, I want to actually marry that person? I wanted, because I just didn't think it was in me anyway. You know what I mean? I just wanted to know, what is it? And I mean, his first answer, legitimately, and he didn't really know why I'm asking, obviously. It's
right.
like, but no matter what, I'm like, what made you decide to ask her to marry you? Blah, blah, blah. Well, she was a really hard worker.
Yeah, I love that about my ex-wife too.
Oh, that's what he said. That's the first reason. That's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about about why you would want to marry someone. Like, well, goddamn, no wonder you're divorced.
Yeah, but
that was your first thing.
That's an emotionally retarded way to say, like, because I am the same way. I am attracted to a woman with ambition. A woman who
nobody wants to pay for everything. Just like struggle and and have somebody that is just a dead weight. Somebody
like you who is a boss bitch who will, like, I don't need you and I'm going to do it on my own and I'm going to make my own way. Like, those are very attractive qualities. Like, that is a very attractive quality. But obviously
he didn't even see that quality in me. He was always questioning me in that.
Right. Oh, so this is the ex-boyfriend that okay, that was married previously.
So again, it's like no, and it's like, no, it's like, I don't get it. It's like, what is it? Is it somebody that has a family that can?
I would argue that he probably did see that in you. He probably did see that in you, and that was one of his attraction points. But relationships break down for so many different reasons. Like, I don't know, if you're wondering, like, I go back and forth, and maybe this is kind of what you're dealing with, and you tell me. Like, even though I've been married and it failed, like, that's even more of an imperative to choose right next time, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to choose right. So, like, do I want to get married? I really enjoy living alone. I really enjoy being on my own. I really enjoy, like, not, like, after you leave tonight, it will be just me. I can do whatever.
I enjoy that too.
I can do whatever gross shit I want after you leave, and nobody's going to judge me. Where you're always with somebody when you're married. So there's that part, but then there's also how will I know if it's right next time? Because I was so wrong last time. And I don't think I know. Like, I don't know. I think there's the opportunity to end up alone forever because you don't know something better may come along. Or you just pick somebody that you really like and work through it.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Because you know what? Nobody's perfect. I think that, you can't just get into it and get out of it and say, well, just this and that. It's like, that's why that's how I feel about marriage. So it's like, if I ever got married, that was my thing. I want to get married one time, and I want to make sure, like, this is the person that I want, you know what I mean? I want to make it work with, because, you know, before, you know, going through a divorce was such an easy thing for people when it was more taboo or frowned upon by society. It's like, you know, they had to work through it. They had the same problems we have. You know, I'm sure it's, you know, just different scales, obviously, again, with social media and awareness. But It's like, you know, they had the same issues, but they had a mindset of, we are going to make this work.
Yep.
Like, that is what this is. Instead of having a mindset of, let's try it, see how it goes.
Fear of missing out. I think, and I'll be honest, I'm very frustrated with dating, because women especially, and this is, I'm not trying to be a chauvinist, but I'm going to. It's for every single woman to examine in herself. But I have found over the last 4 years that the women now versus women when we were younger don't have the same stick-to-itiveness. And I think the Tinder era has made it, because women have so much more choice. Men have a lot of choice too, but women on an online dating, you know, your whole DMs is just a thirst trap.
Yeah, but you have a lot of choices, but how many of them are viable? They're not.
But the second somebody is annoyed with you, maybe I can find better. Or, you know, and I think both men and women do it. It's like, this is annoying me, or this thing is wrong, and it's just kind of off. Whereas, like, my grandparents were 19 when they met. They got married at 20. They're 82 now. They kind of hate each other, but, like, my grandfather could not wait to get my grandmother into a home, and he enjoyed it for about a day and a half, and now he's moving in with her after two weeks. I mean, because he just can't take being apart from her.
Right.
You know, it's like they hate each other, but they miss each other so much. So, I mean, so there were 19 people in their class, and they liked each other, and so they made it work, and it was the same with my other set of grandparents. Whereas, I don't know.
Well, the awareness and the options weren't out there, because you couldn't get a hold of people you didn't know. I just
worry that, like, the other part of it may never happen again is the culture that we live in terms of singleness. It sucks.
A lot of it. I don't think, and it's also the culture. Now, here's an observation that I made based on customers at my job, people that I know, just different situations. But it's like, there's two types of women, and there's the type of women that guys marry, and there's the type of women that guys want to have sex with. Because here's the thing, most guys, and now this is a very, like, you know, a Dustin mentality, but it's like, they don't want a sexual woman. They don't want to marry a woman that's very sexual and like where they have to, you know, worry about them cheating on them while they're at work and blah blah blah. Like, that's one of men's biggest fears, is what I've learned, is being cheated on while they're at work. And they don't want a woman that they have to always worry about guys trying to get and da 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 da. And there's just different things that's symbolic for them. So it's like, you know, a woman that's very sexual and just very, you know, certain things over here, they are not going to be the kind of mother or house, you know, provider or, you know, any of that they're looking for in a partner.
Right.
Because they don't really obviously take the time to get to know a person on that level. Like, they're just making a prejudiced decision about it. And, but then, the women that they want to marry, it's like they want to marry a woman who's probably a little bit heavier. Just because it's like, you know, they know she looks good, but it's like, you don't have to worry about everybody on the block one to tap it. And it's like, they just seem more trustworthy. They seem like they seem more like they are ideal for a mate.
Yeah. So I think what's happening in that scenario, it's not that you're wrong. It's just that
they have a good family, or they have.
Yeah. I think your sample size, in the way that my sample size is always wrong. Like in like my theories on why I'm single or why I'm like, is that I'm getting feedback from people. Like, you're getting feedback from men that are super insecure betas. Like, these guys are assholes.
Well, I'm observing it, though. I'm not getting the feedback. I'm observing it. And I mean, yeah, these guys are assholes, but they make up a good majority of successful people.
Sure.
And that's just it. They're married, though. They want to marry, because here's the thing. They're fucking assholes. And they are like, well, I can, you know, have what I want, and I can also have this what I want too. You know, I'll have this woman to take care of my house and have my kids and make my dinner and to, you know, be there to be that good wife on my arm when I need her to be. And then I'm going to just, you know, go to strip clubs. I'm going to, you know, go to regular bars, whatever it is. Well, she's at home raising your children.
Right.
She can't, you know, find out what you're doing. And then I'm going to just, you know, sleep with these thoughts and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Or like, you know, however their method of going across it and sleeping with all these random women is. But it's like I'm going to fuck hot chicks and then I'm just going to, you know, have my wifey, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's disgusting. That's rude. And it's very stupid because to say that just because I'm sexy and I care about my appearance that I can't make an amazing dinner and...
Well, your opportunities, as soon as we finish this podcast, I'll try you out.
All right. Well, like, keep you in touch with that. But, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you can't say that I'm not going to be good at being a partner to someone or, you know, how I will or will not be. But, I've stopped caring and I've stopped trying to be reserved about things and I've started just doing whatever the F I want because playing by the rules and being a good girl and doing what I'm supposed to do and being conservative and trying to put on the image I'm supposed to have, I feel like I'm supposed to have and please people and do this. It didn't do shit for me.
Right.
It did nothing. It got me nowhere. It did things for other people.
Yeah, that's sort of...
And I'm left to be in the same fucking place.
Yeah, it's sort of how I feel about the nice guy role because I am a very nice guy, like, but I also feel like I've always said, so you want to find your dream mate. You should date me for about 2.5 months and then he will come along because every girl I've dated, she like finds her dream man as soon as we're done dating. Like as soon as she decides we're done dating. Like it's so, and I'm a very nice person and a sweet guy and women don't want that. I was talking to a friend recently and we were just like, the meaner I am to women, he said, the meaner I am to women, the more they love it. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy, but I don't want to be alone forever. And if I'm not a dick to women, like they're not attracted to me.
Because we need genuine honesty and we're used to people saying what we want to hear to get their way with us. And you know what? I need that. I want to feel that you're genuine. I want to know, like, it's just like the media portraying a presidential candidate. I want to hear the good and the bad.
So it's not a matter of being a dick.
It's not.
It's a matter of
but
not.
It's also being assertive.
Yes, it's a matter of not being afraid of the woman because I can tell you
taking the lead role because even an alpha woman, I know personally myself, and I guess I won't use women as this because women are going to get ass hurt over it, but it's like children. They actually seek and thrive under structure. They might want to do what they want to do, but they need and they will actually seek out structure and stability because that's what we all really want at the end of the day.
Right.
And it's like I want to, I'm very headstrong stuff, so I need to know that the guy's strong enough to be in charge and to put me in my place. And you know what I mean? It's like, doesn't mean women need to be put in their place, but my partner and I need to know how to check my partner also.
Yeah. I get exactly what you mean because there's somebody that I dated in 2014 and we're really good friends now. And she told me recently, she's like, I like you a lot better now than I liked you then. And she goes, I can't tell what it is. I think it's because you're not afraid to call me out on my bullshit now.
Exactly.
And I was able to like think back and like, I was terrified of her because I really wanted her to like me. And now I'm just like, you need to go take a fucking shower because you smell like, I don't like patchouli. Get in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not even a romantic.
You want someone to bring the best in you out.
Yeah. It's not a romantic situation. It's just like, hey, you're being a fucking idiot right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, I am.
You want that out of all the people. It's like, I'm going to give a guy shit when he tries to tell me what to do because I want him to put me in my place and say, no, this is what's happening. I want to know that he's got that kind of, command about him, I guess. And yeah, it's like, I don't want somebody who it's like when I'm disgusting and I smell like shit, I'm in the tanning bed and gym and I'm just gross. I don't want someone that's like, oh, I love it. Mm-hmm. No, it's fucking gross if you don't love it.
Yeah. You and I both know you're lying right now.
Exactly.
It's an honesty
You're just
thing.
saying, exactly. It's about trust.
Yes.
I don't trust that.
People pleasing is lying. And when you're trying to get everyone to like you, you're lying. And you you end up hurting them and yourself way more than if you just were honest in that moment instead of like letting these little white lies like just build and build and build and then one day you just blow up.
Well, yeah. See, that's what I feel like I learned coming out of my 20s is about the communication. You know, and even in that relationship, that longer relationship I was in, I learned that it's like, you know, he did things that pissed me off, and then I would throw a really huge fit, and like, this is really making me mad. And like, I wanted him to care, and then he wouldn't care. He didn't do anything that showed he cared, no matter how, like, I expressed to him how bad it hurt.
Right.
That he would do this or that or dismiss me or whatever. And so then he still wouldn't care. And so then it's like, it became a tit for tat. So it's like, okay, well, now I'm just going to, you know, get everything from your house, and I'm never going to keep anything at your house again.
Right.
Or, you know, and then it's like, oh, you did that? Well, now I'm going to do this. Oh, you're acting like that? Well, you don't care? Well, now I'm never going to, you know... I'm never gonna, you know, go to your functions and act like I'm a fucking happy girlfriend.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna be a bitch.
Yep.
And I'm gonna do, you know what I mean? You start trying to punish that person instead of communicate. So it's like women. Another example of that is that women that don't feel attracted to by their, like, if they don't feel like their husbands find them attractive or are not interested in them, and they would bitch at that person, like, oh, you never do this, you never do that. Why do you do that? You know. Well, guess what? That doesn't make the guy attracted to you that you're bitching at him about it.
Right.
When you haven't done anything to yourself because you didn't feel appreciated, so then you stopped doing anything. Well, he didn't say anything. He's just going to keep pushing himself in the other way.
Right.
You know, again, it's like it creates that disconnect, and it's very toxic, and I think we all do it. And it's like, as I now in my 30s, I just, not to say I'll never do it again or find myself maybe getting into that, but I will stop it immediately and probably just get away from the situation I'm in, whoever that person is, because once that toxic stuff starts, you can't ever really get it out.
Yeah, I'm just too old for the bullshit.
And I'm too old for the bullshit.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes you can find yourself drawn into it. So I'm just saying, if I found myself, I would definitely pull out, because it doesn't go anywhere. You're counterproductive to your cause. If you want your husband to pay attention to you, do things that make you feel good about yourself. That way you have confidence and you feel good, whether it's get your hair done, blah, 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 blah. You know, if you bitch at someone to give you a compliment when they pay it to you, and I've been through this whenever with my ex, you know what I mean? I would do it to him. And then he would say it, and it was just like, it didn't mean anything. It's like, you're just saying that because I told you that bothered me. Or you're
right.
And it, you know, again, it takes away from the value. So it's like, you can't bitch at people and tell them what to do and think you're going to get that fulfillment out of it, because you're not. You know, again, it's about communication. It's, you know, if I'm not getting the, you know, attention that I want, I'm going to do some things to try to get that attention. And then if you're still not doing, if you're trying, you know what I mean? If you're making that attempt to please your partner and and they're still not giving it to you, then maybe you need to look at another option, because, you know, that's just, maybe you two are just not compatible.
Yep.
Or, you know, whatever.
That's why I always told and it partially was like to drop hints instead of like just being direct, but I just told my friend Hannah in my 20s, I was like, date a fat guy. Like, if you date a fat guy, he will worship you. Like, if you're a 7, date a 5. Like, because the 5 knows he will never get a 7 to like settle down with him. Like, if you're a 10,
but that doesn't matter,
date
though,
a
because
7.
I'm going to tell you, my ex, I'm better looking than him, and I'm better looking than his John and Kate +8 lopsided ass hairdo having lady. It means nothing. Looks don't mean anything.
If you're a 10, date a 3.
Date someone. I'll say Chris Bowers said this. No, women, you need to date someone that's smarter than you. Mm-hmm. Because stupid shit pisses us off, and it does lead from there. But if you date someone that's smarter than you, they're gonna know how to direct you and lead you to be a good girl.
Yeah, like that's pretty. Yeah, because like one relationship that I had, like, that didn't work because I knew what she was doing, so I'd call her on her bullshit. And like, you can't
didn't work for me either.
You can't get away with shit, so I'm not into this anymore. But then I think you're right. Like, I adjust. Like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that again. Let's not do that again.
Right. That's what humans do.
Right. I'm not stupid. You know, you have to tell me like 3 or 4 times, but not, I get it. You know,
right.
I think a lot of my guy friends just don't get it. It's like, dude,
it's their egos.
Yeah.
They don't,
it's pride.
It's like that keeps them from getting it. They're like, well, it can't be this.
She's just on her period.
Yeah.
Fucking bitch.
Yeah. It's not the fact that you are just the total asswipe.
All right, well, we got to start wrapping up. And so I think I want to end it by saying, Miranda, will you marry me?
Why, yes, I will, Chris Spangle.
Well,
see, you know what? And I'm just going to say this. That guy was stupid. I would have fucking woke up and sucked his dick and made his breakfast and lunch for work every goddamn day and been the best goddamn wife I could have been. So.
Well, now I'm going to buy your ring, too.
Princess cut. And I need a new phone, viewers. I honestly do need a phone. My phone's real broke. It's missing chunks of glass. It's cutting me. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to supply nudes. But yeah, seriously, can we donate money for my phone cause?
Mike Doty, please help.
Mike Doty's helped enough. God damn it, you leave him out of this. He's done his part.
How can people buy nudes if they want to buy nudes?
Hit me up on Snapchat, Maranda1219. I'm gonna probably need CID. All these youngsters out here.
Yeah, a lot of the.
I don't want to become a registered sex offender.
I couldn't.
It's scary.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, it could happen. That's what I've thought about. I'm like, that's fucked up. Like that could happen. I've got to be careful.
Send ID.
Yeah, if you have a major credit card, I have to just assume you're old enough.
Right, you have to be at least 18.
So yeah, give me money, seriously, y'all. I need a phone, and my daughter needs a phone too. She just joined in. We both need iPhones and sugar daddy for me and a real daddy for her. So hit us up.
All right, say goodbye, Miranda.
Bye, Miranda.
Thank you for listening to the We're Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at We'reLibertarians.com.